Hello. Hello, hello. Belle and I just came out of our Venus Immersion welcome call. So we're still on the energy of that, and it's awesome. We just wanted to come on really quick and just let you know that we are still ready and willing to open up the container for a few more people. We have until the 31st of August where we're going to be closing that container and starting the journey together. So as we're in this energy of commitment, the 29th gate gene key hexagram is active for the collective. And so it's giving us an opportunity to ask ourselves, what are we saying yes to? What are we saying no to? This is the gate of saying yes. So oftentimes it's going to overcommit. It's going to say yes to things that like make it put itself last or utilize its energy in a way that's not best for it. So as you are contemplating these yeses in your life, ask yourself, what have you said yes to that enriched your life? What have you said yes to that created more expansion, more intimacy, more whatever the word is for you, that allowed you to have and experience more wholeness in your life? And where have you said yes to things that made you compromise yourself or do things that went against what you believed was right, or did things to meet an expectation, said yes because of expectations? I'd love for you to take this transit to look at those things and to contemplate them, because as you are moving through life, it's so important for you to ask yourself as these opportunities come to you, why am I saying yes? What am I saying yes to? And because I'm saying yes to this, what am I saying no to by saying yes to this? Because there's always a no with your yes. So ask what that no is. And if the no compromises you, your values, who you are, your energy, your sovereignty, whatever it is, ask yourself what you are denying, rejecting, pushing away because of that yes, because of that no, vice versa.
I was thinking about cycles a bit too. When we say yes to something, it's kind of we're in for the cycle. So especially for people that are generators, that's kind of how it works. So is what is a yes today also going to be a yes tomorrow? And sometimes it's going to kind of be forced a yes tomorrow. And it's smart for manifesting generators too, because you really want to have your whole heart in it if you say yes, because your energy is more fluctuating. So, and right now we have both the Sun and Mercury in that 29 gate or gene key. So it's also about communicating our commitments. And that's exactly what we did today in the orientation call, because when we come together in a container, and we were 44 people on today. So it's like, how can we activate that dynamism, that teamwork between people, where we can speak out our individual commitment, but there is an interconnectedness, there's an interdependence, that when we do that in one container, it kind of lifts the whole container and the purpose and intention and movement of the energy in that container.
Yeah. And I want you to also not feel shame or guilt or anything if your intention or your commitment changed from day to day, because especially if you don't have this fixed direction, this fixed like identity, you're going to be interacting with life differently. You're going to be saying yes to something, and then the next day, like Bella was saying, it doesn't feel right. So you have to ask yourself too, like, do you feel shame when you feel like, oh, I need to back out of this, right? Maybe you were riding the excitement wave and you said yes too soon, and then you have buyer's remorse, or the remorse that you feel when you say yes and it's not really what you wanted to say. How can you course correct too? Because you can always do that. And like Bella was saying, things have cycles, and sometimes we repeat the cycles because we exit out of it too soon. But if you can see what the lesson is, maybe the cycle's a day, maybe the cycle's a year, maybe the cycle's 4 months, you don't know, but you know when it feels right, when it feels like I can end this, or it needs to end itself and I'm kind of in it for the ride, you know? And like Bella was saying, as a manifesting generator, you're allowed to quit as well. And I feel like a lot of people feel like shame for that or guilt for that. You know, it's just what feels right for you. Are you doing this for somebody else or something else? Or are you doing it for yourself? Because you come first always. I believe.
And there is something with the Venus sequence here, because we do see, I mean, that's where I kind of hear most of people speaking about patterns of like, oh, I thought it was so different, but actually this relationship at the end of the day, I have exactly the same problem, or, you know, or I feel like I'm with my dad again, but he seems so different. So there is something with relationships that when we exit them before having like that, there's always a jewel with relationships, but if we don't get it and we exit out, we kind of have to go into the next relationship for the same jewel. But if we stay and we can find the jewel, there's going to be another precious stone in the next relationship. So there's a kind of paradox with that. And also, if you have a lot of third lines in your profile, this thing about cutting to start a new relationship or a new slate, it's paradoxical, because sometimes that's why there are no rights or wrongs either, but to have the awareness of cycles, the awareness that if we don't integrate something now, there's going to be another possibility to meet that shadow and integrate it. So we always have free choice, but the awareness around our commitments and our choices. And in my case, for example, I have a split, and the 29, I have a small split, and the 29 is bridging that. So I've been trying to be the 29 my whole life and over committing to everything and kind of not saying no until the last drop of blood. And that is also, that's an exaggerated way of embodying an archetype. So, and I feel like those are patterns that actually we're starting to look at. We're looking at them in the inner circle. Now with Venus, we have the possibility to be like, wow, that's what I do. And kind of also speak it out and recommitting to being whole in my 46. Like, I just need to be in my temple. That's the harmonic 8. I just need to be home in my temple. I just need to be playful in my temple in the third line, so that I don't have to try to be something that I'm not. But then I can meet somebody else, and maybe, who knows, they can be this amazing electromagnetic, the tantric 2946. So these are the kinds of dynamics that we are looking at in ourselves, and that we're starting to understand in those closest relationships that we have in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I love that you also said about integration and ending a relationship. Have that period of integration before you just jump into another one. That's why they call a lot of those relationships rebound relationships, because you haven't had enough time in between to figure out what was the lesson here. What do you want now? So you keep attracting more of the same, you know, and to know too, like Bella was saying, yeah, she has a split, but that doesn't mean that she has to have somebody bridge that. She's whole in herself. She can have a relationship with herself in herself and know like the focus on the temple is the thing, and that when the 29 comes in and it enriches her life, you know, or it shows her why she needs to choose herself, choose her body, choose her sovereignty. Because when you commit to that other, it's like, are you compromising your body? Are you compromising your delight for the other? You know, so it's really cool and really important for us to look at, what are you committed to? What's this energy of devotion to, this energy of bhakti? Like, is that possible for us to feel so devoted? And is that something that we feel like before we're devoted to ourselves, or we need to be devoted to ourselves first, committed to ourselves first? Or can you actually feel that that sacrifice and devotion to the other? That's something to contemplate, right? Because a lot of people may sacrifice themselves for the other, but is that coming from a sense of wholeness, or is it coming from this, like, you complete me, I need to give myself of you, to you, for you, so that I can feel whole and worthy? Or are you coming to the relationship whole, and then there's three, you know, one and three, instead of half and half is one.
Yeah, when it comes to devotion, when you're saying that, Ashley, I see this kind of frequency resonance, that you can only devote yourself to something that you perceive being in your frequency, or like, you know, slightly, like very close to that frequency. There is a geometry that has to match, because when we have the devotee and the devoted, they become one. And you can't really become one with something that is energetically too far away from your energy. It's just like, it will kind of go like this. There is something there where devotion somehow has to do with, like, it has to do with the object, although when you engage in it, it becomes one. But there is something there. So it's not like, just because you feel like you can't devote yourself in one relationship doesn't mean that you don't have the ability of devotion, because it might just be an energy geometry that isn't matching.
Mm-hmm. Yes. um Yeah, I don't have anything else coming through. I am looking at the cards that I picked. I don't know if this is coming in, but I pulled the Queen, the Maiden, and the Stone.
Mm.
And it's still on my desk, so it's still pertinent, but I feel like I'm putting these away. So I wanted to just, I'm calling forth those of you who are wanting to access your queen, your king, this energy. What is that like? Where have you, who's sitting on your throne? Who have you given your power to? Are you fully embodied in your queen energy, your king energy? Are they together in sacred union? The maiden is the first step, the first stage towards becoming the crone, becoming the wise woman, becoming the elder. And so for those of you that are wanting to understand, master yourself, come into embodiment, come into your wisdom, these are the people that we're calling in now. These are the ones that I feel like are in the frequency or in the energy, asking like, I want to allow my queen to rise and to sit at the throne with the king. I want to come into my crone, my wisdom. It goes the maiden, the mother, the crone, right? So you need to be whole in yourself too. And then when you come, like, can you step into the mother? What is the mother for you? And then what is the crone? And this whole cycle, this process, this progress towards mastery. And it's not a teacher, I'm a crone, listen to me, I'm this master. It's a role modeling. So this whole journey is about you understanding what it is to first be the princess, then to come into the queen. What it is to first be the maiden, then come into the crone. How does that work? And it's not, we're not just calling in females. It's not a man or woman thing. It's a masculine and feminine thing. And you have the queen in you, whether you're a man or a woman. And you have the maiden in you, whether you're a man or a woman. The stone is what anchors you. The stone is what brings these into your body. Can you embody these? Can you use it to ground yourself? We use stones to ground us, to bring forth these energies. So if we're using the stone as this reminder, if you want to embody your queen, if you want to transform your maiden, get an object, get a stone, a crystal that represents this, and carry it with you, because it's activating and reminding you of this energy so that you're embodying it, you're bringing it in. You're saying, I'm wearing this costume. I'm putting my mindful attention on these, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to embody and transform into these archetypes that are within me. So for those of you that are working on your queen, and those of you that are working on your self-mastery, this is the Venus immersion, is what we're doing together. And so I want to invite you into the container and allow you to come in and come into self-mastery, and come into this union, and come into this experience where you're starting to gather all these parts of you. Maybe you are not in your queen. Your queen is over here. Maybe you are not even in this like journey of self-mastery. Maybe you're in the maiden, and the maiden is who you are and how you're running around in your life, and it's very this immature version of yourself, and you're like, I want to come into maturity. I'm tired of playing and skating responsibilities. I'm ready to commit to myself. And that's what the 29 is doing, saying, are you committed to yourself? Are you committed to your self-mastery? Are you committed to coming into your potential? Are you committing to coming into your potential? The potential to be the queen, to be the crone, to be the king, to play with that eternal child. You don't have to stay naive and immature as a child. You're here to use the child to embody and to bring through curiosity and play and delight, because that's what's going to allow you to manifest at this beautiful, beautiful level, to be aligned and embodied with your king, your queen, your child, and allow the whole family to sit at the table with you inside of yourself and say, I'm united, I'm whole, and I'm balanced and equal. So if you're wanting to still come into our container and experience the Venus immersion with us, we would love to have you. We'll post the link in the comments. There's payment plans and pay in full options. And you have until the 31st to decide if you're ready to come into this commitment. We're moving into the 59, which is all about intimacy and transparency. So know that when you commit to this container, you're here to be intimate with yourself and to transform yourself. You're here to come into really knowing who you are at a very, very vulnerable and transparent way. You're not hiding anything from yourself anymore. So if you want to stay hiding parts of yourself from yourself in the world, then you don't need to join this. You can keep hiding. You can keep being dishonest. You can keep wearing a mask. Go ahead. There's no judgment there. It's just where you're playing at, and that's fine. But if you're ready to take off the mask and to meet all parts of yourself and say, I accept you in, I'm bringing you in, no matter how ugly, no matter how scary, no matter how traumatized, No matter any of that stuff, you're bringing it in and saying, like, I accept you, I embrace you, I love you, and let's work on this together. You're not saying like, oh my God, my inner child is so whiny. Like, stop throwing tantrums. I'm so annoyed with you. It's like, no, can you parent your inner child? Can you bring it in? Right? Can you stop emasculating your masculine? Can you stop cutting off his penis and saying like, I can do everything myself. I don't freaking need you. Right? I mean, and whatever we do to the queen, I feel like the queen is trying to be the man and the woman, but like we have our roles. You don't have to be the father and the mother within one archetype. It's like, no, utilize them both. And you don't need a man or a woman to complete you in your external world. Let's work through this together. And like, so I'm so passionate about this right now. Bella, did you want to add anything?
No, I like that. That transmission is complete.
Complete. This is my 5-1 saying, like, let's just make the commitment. Like, do the thing. Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much for hopping on for this short live, and we appreciate you. We love you, and we hope that you can make some sort of commitment during the 29 to yourself that provides expansion and more intimacy in your life. I pray that whatever needs to come to you comes to you, so that you can commit to whatever experience or journey that is going to allow you to come more into wholeness and union with yourself, whatever that journey may be. So thank you. Have a lovely Thursday.